Have you ever been judged for something you didn't do, or for something you did but no one tried to understand why? I am Cain. Yes, that Cain. The first murderer in history, the disobedient brother, the marked man, the exile. That's how I've been called through the centuries. But has anyone ever listened to my side? Has anyone ever asked what really happened that day under the scorching sun, when my hand rose against my brother Abel's? No. Because it's easier to see me as a monster than to hear the truth. The truth is complicated. The truth hurts. And the truth can change everything you think you know. So let me tell you my story. Not the one you read in holy books, nor the one repeated by prophets, nor the one taught in churches. Let me tell you the story that no one has heard from me. A story of pain, of abandonment, of a struggle to be heard, of love twisted into rage, and of a God who saw everything and said nothing. This is my side. This is the truth. Chapter 1, the beginning of the end. I was born under the shadow of paradise. My parents, Adam and Eve, once walked with God in the cool of the garden. They knew the voice of the Creator, felt His breath on their skin, tasted the fruit of life itself. But they fell. They were cast out. And I was born outside Eden in a world already broken. My name means acquired, as in, I have acquired a man from the Lord, my mother said when I was born. She thought I was a gift, but I was never seen as such. Not by God. Not by my brother. Not even by my parents, who looked at me with a kind of weary disappointment, as if expecting me to fix the world they had ruined. Abel was different. He was the golden child, the favored one. He was quiet, gentle, a keeper of sheep. He offered sacrifices to God, and God looked kindly upon him. Me. I was a farmer, a tiller of cursed earth. I worked the land with calloused hands and aching back. I offered my fruits to God, hoping for a sign of approval. But He never looked at me the way He looked at Abel. It wasn't fair. And that's where the anger began. Chapter 2, the offering. I remember that day clearly. The sun was high, the sky pale. I had worked the fields all morning, hands deep in the soil, sweat dripping from my brow. I had brought the best of my harvest, wheat, barley, figs, grapes. I laid them before the altar, heart pounding, waiting for God's sign. But there was nothing. No fire from heaven. No voice from the sky. No warmth in my chest. Then Abel came. He brought the firstborn of his flock, the fat portions. He didn't even break a sweat. And just like that, fire fell. The smoke rose. God had accepted him. I watched, silent, fists clenched. I had worked harder than him. I had offered more. Why did He look at Abel and not at me? That night I asked Him. I cried out to the heavens, demanding to know why I was not worthy. He answered me with silence. Chapter 3, the mark. God came to me later, after I had already begun to drift. I was in the field, the same one where I had tilled the earth, where I had poured my sweat and tears. He spoke to me not with love, not with comfort, but with warning. Why are you angry? He asked. Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. I didn't understand. Was He saying I was wrong? That I had sinned? But I had done nothing. I had only wanted to be seen, to be loved. I turned to Abel, and he looked at me with pity. That was worse than hatred. And in that moment I saw red. I struck him. Once. Twice. A third time. He fell, eyes wide, mouth open in shock. The blood spilled on the ground, soaking into the earth I had once loved. Only then did I realize what I had done. And God's voice came again, not in anger, but in sorrow. Where is your brother? I spat back the words that would haunt me forever. I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? He knew. Of course He knew. And He cursed me. The earth would no longer yield its crops for me. I would be a restless wanderer on the earth. And then, He placed a mark on me. Not as punishment. No. As protection. Whoever kills you will suffer vengeance 7 times over, He said. So I was cursed to live. To wander. To carry the weight of my sin. And to be remembered only as the killer. Chapter 4, the wandering. I left the land of my birth and walked east into the land of Nod. There, I built a city and named it after my son Enoch. I had a family. I had children. I tried to rebuild a life. But the world knew me only as the murderer. Even my descendants feared me. They whispered my name like a curse. And still, God did not take my life. He let me live. Perhaps that was the true punishment. Chapter 5, the truth they don't tell. You think I was the first sinner? That I was the one who brought death into the world? No. My parents did that. They were the ones who ate the fruit. They were the ones who broke the covenant. And yet, I was the one punished. You think I was evil? That I was born with darkness in my soul? No. I was a man betrayed by silence. By a God who saw my pain and did nothing. Who watched my jealousy grow and did not stop it. Who gave me a warning but no help. Sin was crouching at my door, yes. But I was never given the strength to fight it. God gave Abel favor. He gave him peace. He gave him acceptance. But he gave me a test. And I failed. Chapter 6. The Mark of the Forgotten. I've carried this mark for centuries. It's not on my skin anymore. Time has faded it. But it lives in the stories told about me. They say I was the devil's first disciple. That I was cursed by God forever. That I am the symbol of all that is evil. But no one remembers the boy who just wanted to be loved. No one remembers the farmer who worked the land with bleeding hands. No one remembers the man who wept over his brother's body, begging for forgiveness. Because no one listened. And now I speak. Chapter 7. The Call to the Reader. If you've made it this far, thank you. You've given me a chance to speak. You've listened. And now I ask you, don't just read this and forget. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Was I truly evil? Or was I a man broken by silence? Give a like. If this story moved you, if it made you question what you thought you knew, show it. Subscribe. This is only the beginning. There's more to my story. There's more to the truth. Because I am Cain. And this is my side. Chapter 8. The Burden of Memory. Do you know what it's like to be remembered only for your worst moment? Every time my name is spoken, it is in condemnation. Every time my story is told, it is a warning. Every time I'm mentioned in a sermon or a book, it's to illustrate the dangers of jealousy, of anger, of sin. But what about the years after? What about the nights I spent staring at the stars, wondering if God still saw me? What about the children I raised, the life I tried to build? What about the love I gave, the pain I carried, the grief I never stopped feeling? No one talks about that. They only remember the murder. They only remember the curse. They only remember the mark. But I remember the silence. The silence of God. The silence of my parents. The silence of the world. Chapter 9. The God who did not speak. I have thought about this more than you can imagine. Why did he not speak to me after that day? Why did he not comfort me? Why did he not offer me grace? He gave me a punishment, yes. But he never gave me hope. He gave me a mark, yes. But he never gave me mercy. He gave me exile, yes. But he never gave me peace. Did he not care? Or was he waiting to see what I would become? I wonder if he ever looked down and saw me building a city, raising a family, trying to live. Did he see me teaching my son to farm, to love, to be better than his father? Did he see me cry over Abel's grave, begging for forgiveness I never received? Or did he turn his face away as he did the day I offered my fruits? Chapter 10. The Legacy of Cain. You may not know this, but my line did not end with me. I had a son. And he had a son. And so on. They became builders, musicians, metal workers. They were the first to create tools, to make music, to shape the world. And yet, even their names are forgotten. Because they were born from the line of Cain. And that line is cursed in the eyes of the world. But I tell you this, my descendants were not monsters. They were men and women who tried to live, to build, to create. Just like me. Chapter 11. The question I ask you. Now that you've heard my story, I want to ask you something. Do you believe that a man can be more than his worst moment? Do you believe that a person can be misunderstood, judged without being heard, condemned without being given a chance? Do you believe that even the first murderer was still a man who loved, who hurt, who failed, who tried again? Because I was not born evil. I was not destined to kill. I was a man who was never shown love, never given grace, never offered peace. And in the end, I was left with only silence. Chapter 12. The Final Words. I do not ask for forgiveness. Not from you, not from God. I only ask for understanding. For someone, anyone to hear me. To remember that I was not just a killer. I was a brother, a son, a farmer, a father. A man who wept in the dark, who begged for mercy, who tried to rebuild after the world turned its back on him. So now, I leave you with this. If you've made it this far, thank you. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Was I wronged? Was I wrong? Give a like. If this story touched you, if it made you think, show it. Subscribe. There's more to come. More stories. More truths. More voices that deserve to be heard. Because I am Cain. And this was my story. The one no one ever listened to, until now.